And now let's welcome in an OG, one of the former co-hosts, original co-host, Caiden. Now it's just me and Caiden here. We wish Jack and Drew were here. Jeff Powers, welcome to the show.
All right,
Hey, Jack.
Jr., that's what we're doing. That's how we're doing it. How we doing, fellas?
Hey, doing great, man. Glad to have you. Let's dive into the BYU game. Let's get into it. We were just talking.
Before we dive into it, Jack, are you doing okay? You look a little red in the face. I didn't know if your blood pressure was high or not.
Yeah, so I actually just got back from a run. It's only a couple hours over the mountain range to Provo, Utah. So just hiked up the mountain, went down the other side, scouted out practice a little bit, just getting ready for the game this week.
Jeff, I know we went obviously going.
Hey, DJ Jr. DJ Captain Morgan Jr. Come on now.
Jack, we played at BYU, and we obviously knew how hard it was to beat them. Just honestly, like going into it, and it seems like that every year. Like the Naval Academy and Army are just like, every year they're going to be good. BYU knows they're going to be big up front. How do you feel about the Pirates? Like you've been kind of watching from a distance this year. Like how do you think we match up with the size up front that they're going to have?
That size up front is something that I feel like the Pirates and kind of these group of five teams, when they go play these Power Four games, it's clear that you're always going to have a little bit of a disadvantage up front in the trenches. Where you make up for that is with some of the skill positions, and I think we could do that. I think it's a very interesting game and kind of matchup that we have here this week. If you look at the matchup on paper, I think it kind of aligns well for us. And having it be a home game for us, it's going to be a good test for our run defense. It's going to be a great test for our offense. Kind of we've had a little bit of inconsistent, I think, kind of just down the road throughout the season so far. So seeing how we can get the passing game, keeping that on attack, and then implementing the run game. I mean, we haven't had much of a run game thus far yet, but this could be a great kind of stage and an opportunity for the Pirates to go out there and prove some people wrong.
Hey, Jack, speaking of the trenches, I know you were a pretty big mentor to Preston Carr, and Preston Carr has stepped up incredibly this year. I know that was a D-line all year was question marks. But you played with him. You knew him as he was younger, getting minimal snaps, and now this year he's come out and he was doing a press conference the other day after the game. So curious, did you see that coming? And curious what you thought of Preston as you were mentoring coming up.
Yeah, I think this year especially, you look at Preston and Zion kind of as, the two guys up front. Excuse the thunder out there. I guess we're getting the fall storms here. But you got Preston and Zion up front, and seeing them grow has been it's been awesome to watch. They started as walk-ons, and that's something that I always kind of like looked after and respected because I started as a walk-on in my career too. So
Me too.
Obviously, any way that I could guide them or give them advice, I was always willing to. But at the end of the day, it's been all up to them. And they've taken big steps in their career to improve their game. And so it's really fun and cool to see them lead and play well. Because I think going into this season, and we would just talk, whether we were catching up on the phone or on the game or something, and we were like, the biggest question mark is kind of that interior D-line. Like, are they going to be able to step up? And this far, they're looking like all conference guys up there, and they're making a lot of plays. So really cool to see, really proud of them. And, it's all their hard work come to fruition.
I agree with you. That defense, that was the biggest question mark, and I'm very confident in them now. I'm curious for both of you. Defense looks great. I feel confident in a game like this. I don't care how big BYU's offensive line might be. I think they'll hold their ground. We saw it against NC State, and I think NC State's probably a better team than BYU this year. What's your guys' biggest question mark on the team right now?
I would still say, Jack, I'll go first. I would still say running back explosiveness. We're not explosive in the run game. But I will say this, and Jack has kind of pointed on it, because we've kind of talked, like he said, off air and stuff, but we say offensive inconsistencies. We're scoring a lot of points, but it's just like the first half versus NC State, and really the first half versus Coastal last week, which we'll get into a little bit later. It was like we just tried to force the run. If you look at this year, we've only been sacked one time. If you look at the history of ECU football, it's always been you get really good receivers, you can get a quarterback, and sometimes even a running back. But the offensive line and pass pro is always the story going into it's always like, can the offensive line hold up to let our receivers go win the games? This year we have the good receivers. The offensive line is great at pass pro. We've played NC State, who has a good D line. We've only been sacked one time. So in my opinion, I think it worries me that we don't have explosive run play. But do we have to have it that much when we act? This is the year where you do go throw it a lot because you have time up front.
The question here, Jack, I'll let you answer in a second. The question is it the offensive line or is it the running backs and the running backs' visions? Because if you have an offensive line, like we've seen, can pass pro their asses off, and pass pro is hard to do a lot of times, how can they not run block? Like, I've never seen an offensive line, if it is the offensive line, so inconsistent on two different things. It's usually like, oh, we're better at one thing, but it's not so dramatic of a difference.
Yeah, and Jack, will go to you after this one, but I just don't think it's like, I don't think it's an issue yet. Like, we're not even in conference play yet. It's just something that, like, BYU game, like, you're going to have to run the ball at some point to win the game. Jack, I'd like to kind of hear your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think kind of hitting on what you were saying right there. You always talk about complementary football, and a lot of keys to winning and with a lot of different coaches and a lot of different programs is playing complementary football, and that's defense, special teams, offense, right? But I think you could kind of dive into each kind of situation there and, can the offense play complementary ball to themselves? And it kind of sounds like a silly question, but hey, you know what? Maybe it's the reverse of the past seasons like you mentioned. Maybe we got to spread them out and pass it and pass it and pass it and get guys out of the box, and that'll open up the run game, right? So, I mean, I think we're only 3 games into the season. So I think people are still kind of finding their groove a little bit, knowing what they got on the roster, and hopefully things can kind of open up here. And, whether it's the coaches or the players are going to start getting in more of a flow and things can switch up here.
So, Jack, do you agree with us? Your biggest question mark is the running backs and the O-line, or do you have a different question mark than us?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to be the run game. I was at the NC State game week 1. And, the passing game was there, and it was like we'd get down to 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, right? And we'd hit, and we'd get the 3rd down conversion by throwing the ball. And so, like, in the stands, you were hearing a lot of people saying, which it's kind of funny being on this side now, but you hear everyone saying, like, why are we even running the ball? I'm like, well, it's kind of true, like the passes are working, so why aren't we doing it more? So who knows? Maybe we could spread them out a little bit, get people out of the box and run the game. But, yeah, I'd say the run game right now is probably the biggest question mark.
Hey, looking to figure out what the office should have for lunch or planning your next tailgate? When you're catering, go no further than NC's, Eastern North Carolina's favorite barbecue. That's right, Sam Jones Barbecue. And when you purchase Sam Jones Barbecue, make sure you round up to help Eastern North Carolina make a wish. So each purchase, you round up to the nearest dollar, you're donating to Eastern North Carolina's Make-A-Wish to make sure we can help a kid's dream come true. And I think our run game this year so far is the extended. We've said a few times the extended run of the passes,
screens, and
eventually they're going to step up on that. When they step on that, you go deep, or you do hand it off. You spread them out. You got to be successful. I think we're successful in the pass this year. I think that'll open the runs with the extended pass as well.
Yeah, I think, look, like we talked about up front, Jack, we just talked with you about it, about like BYU's good up front, and they always have been. They probably had the best pass rush last year, the best defensive line in the Big 12 last year. They had a lot of success. This year going into it, like, to beat good teams, I keep saying it, you have to run the football. You don't have to run for 100 yards. You don't have to run for 200 yards. But when the situation calls for it, we're going to have to run the football, and I feel like that's going to lead to if we win or lose this game. Another thing, Jack, and I'll get your opinion on, I know you've watched some of the West Coast games that they've played, is they have a freshman quarterback. Now, I don't know if he's 45 years old or if he's 19 years old because he goes to BYU, but he's only thrown the ball 38 times. So that's something going into it, is like they're going to have to score points versus us. They haven't given up an offensive touchdown all year. They haven't really played anyone. Well, Stanford's one of those, like, they're probably terrible, but we don't really know yet.
They're terrible.
Yeah, they played Sacramento.
Well, they beat Boston College, who's decent.
They played Portland
They
State,
lost to Hawaii,
who's 0-4.
Yeah,
and then they played probably awful Stanford, but they played one good game. So I don't think they've really played a competitive team.
Yeah, I think you go into this game, Jack. I want to get your opinion on both quarterbacks here. I think you go into this game, you just ride Caiden Hauser and you ride the receivers and let them take you to a win if you're going to win. You're going to eventually, like I said, going to have to run the football in a certain situation. But if you want to win this game, Caiden Hauser is going to have to throw multiple touchdowns and throw for over 300 yards. Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, so it is a young quarterback. I think his name's Bear Buckmeyer. I think he has 37 passing attempts on the season, which is pretty crazy. If you kind of compare his stats to Caiden's stats right there, like you said, that's something that I'm sure the coaches are licking their chops looking at this week, saying, this could be a key to the victory. Going back on one thing you said, though, about kind of establishing that run game, I think if the Pirates want to make kind of a conference title contention, and they want to fight for postseason play, whether it's a better bowl game or the conference title, you got to have a team with a respectable run game, because defenses are going to start figuring it out. We get down the road, we start playing some better ball clubs with Tulane, Memphis, so on and so forth. Those teams are going to start teeing off on us if we don't have a respectable run game. So I think kind of establishing a run game that opponents respect is going to be huge for us down the road. But yeah, as far as this game goes, I think we ride Caiden Hauser, but also it's going to be a huge test for our defense, which I'm really excited about because, myself included, but everyone's been raving about the defense this season. Well, they're going to have their chance to really impress us. So I saw people talk about no touchdowns since the third quarter of the state game. We'll see if that can continue, but I'm just excited to watch the boys fly around and play hard.
Yep, that's 9 quarters, Jack. I don't know if your CT kicked in, but that's 9 straight quarters of no touchdowns,
right.
if you count them up. I got a thought for both of you, 2 separate questions, really. Jack, first, what's your thought as a defensive player going to play against a freshman quarterback? And then Holton, after you were the freshman quarterback going on the road before, what's that first road game like? So let's go with Jack first.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think it very much depends on where you're at kind of in your football career. Because I could tell you my first 2 to 3 years, I wasn't as good of a mental player as I nearly was, my 4th, 5th, 6th year. So going into it in my last couple of years, going against a freshman quarterback, you're a lot easier to pick up reads on, right? You kind of have a feel for what they're going to do. And Holton and I were actually watching some tape on BYU earlier today, and we see he gets some pressure and he has a guy open and he just takes the sack, right? So those are kind of things that you identify when you're going against a younger quarterback. Obviously, he's very talented. He's the starting quarterback for BYU, so you have to respect him still. But I think kind of as your game develops, kind of certain things to look for with a younger quarterback that you might be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jack, and something that we were watching the film. I mean, we were watching.
Thanks for the invite, by the way.
Sorry about it. You were working. You never return my calls. We were talking about it, and I watched a film, and the quarterback got sacked, and it was like red zone, and they were inside the 10-yard line, and he took a big sack, but he was just he was staring down a receiver, and then looking at him like, how did this guy not know that he was hot right there? And hot, for the people who don't know, is there's going to be an unblocked defender, and you got to re-mic, which means you got to send the offensive line that way or send the running back to pick up this guy. And he was clearly coming in and got hit. And that is what excites me, why I think ECU really has a good chance defensively to create turnovers. Turnovers leads to wins in the most part, with the turnover margin and all that. If you look at historic data, he just, with the way we move defensively, the way we blitz and stuff like that, like we're going to get to him. We're going to get to the quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. You just got to execute on him. When we do get turnovers, I think he'll throw interceptions or fumbles, or we'll hit strip sacks and stuff like that. You got to execute. You got to score points there, not just field goals. And that's how you beat good teams, is you take those turnovers and you don't just get, like last night watching the Texans. The Texans got a strip sack and then got no yards, kicked a field goal, made it. Great teams get a strip sack, go down the field, score, and then it's a totally different ball game. And Jack, that's something you can kind of talk about, is just the turnover side of things versus a true freshman quarterback. But he made a good point about reading the cues of a freshman. Like if I look back at my freshman tape, and as a true freshman going into it, you think like, you know a lot of things. I think it's his first road start.
First road game.
Yeah, it's his first road game.
I don't know if he realized how hostile environment he's about to walk into.
Yeah, so you go into it and you don't realize there's a lot of tips. And when you have veteran guys like Tegan Wilk on the team and guys that have played a lot of snaps, those guys will pick up on the tips, whether they have on film already or will by the second drive. Like there's a lot of tips that quarterbacks give, especially young quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I can't think of it right now, but there was a quarterback in college this past week that was getting up pass. His stance was every single pass he'd have his right foot up, every single run he'd have his left foot up. And people will catch up on things like that, and true freshmen will give you that information if you just look for it, if you're more experienced.
One thing also I'm excited about playing a true freshman is, like, a lot of people don't look at this, is your protection scheme, calling your protections. Like quarterbacks call their protections, and like you called basically your hot routes as well, or your hot guys. Freshman year, trying to learn or protect. High school, you didn't care about that. High school, you're not really taught that. It's really college where you learn, like, if you don't call your protections right, you're going to get effed up. And so, like, I mean, Harold's known to disguise blitzes. Like, I'm really fired up about that as well, playing it. Because I remember your freshman year,
Yeah.
shoot, I struggled with that till I was probably a junior. That's probably why I never played.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a hard. That's Jack.
Hey, easy, man. Easy. Come on.
Yeah, I was agreeing like it's hard. I wasn't agreeing. That's why you never played.
He said, "Yeah."
Caiden and Jack, I'll let you go here in a sec. Caiden used to, we would go in the QB meeting room and we would go over like draw blitzes on the board and stuff or draw plays on the board. And then we'd go up like who protected or all that. Caiden would intentionally tell me the wrong guy to protect so that the other linebacker would go free and hurt me so he could get into the game. Can you believe it?
It took him 4 years to figure it out. Can't believe that.
Jack, thanks for joining, brother.
Whoa, wait, before he goes, I got one more question.
Okay.
Jack, what's your thought on a quarterback wearing number 47?
This podcast is brought to you by Anson Belts. Over 10,000 combinations. Yes, we said it, 10,000 combinations of micro-adjustable holeless belts. You can mix and match the belt and the buckle. They even have some new buckles out right now that are pretty sick. They got ECU Jolly Roger. They got purple leather. They're great for game days. Kate, we love Anson Belt.
Yep, and what's great about Anson Belt is the holeless adjustable. You know, wintertime is coming back. That means a lot of us, more weight comes back to stay warm for the season. Check out Anson Belt.
I mean, it's pretty random to me. What I will say before I leave, I think my two unprovoked, non-ass keys to winning from a defense perspective. Number one, we have to stop the run. They have a killer running game, and it's going to be a big test for our front seven. And if we do that, we get to point number two, which is win third down, or as we call it, money down, right? And that's where we were just talking about with you, talking about disguising pressures, bringing it, putting the quarterback on the hot seat right there. I think that's going to be a big chance to capitalize, but to get to that point, we got to stop to the run. So those are my two thoughts.
Hey, you said money down. I love the call outs. We get a lot of calls on the fifth quarter that people hate the third down song. You had to choose the third down song for Dowdy Fick. What are you choosing? And you got to sing it. You have to sing it.
Take me for a ride on my big green tractor.
That's turning.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to bring me back on at the end of the season, and I'll have a song prepared.
All right.
Dude. No, mine would be.
I'm sorry to let you down.
Dun, 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 dun,
You'd go.
dun, dun,
Would you
dun.
go Lana Del Rey, Caiden? I think you would.
No, who goes Lana Del Rey for a third down song?
Caiden, I don't know. You're a crazy cat.
Hey, when I'm in a moody vibe, that's where I'll go.
Jack, we miss you as a host, but we'll see you soon. When you come in, we'll get you in person.
That's right, boys.
See you, brother. Thanks for
Talk
joining.
to you later.
A lot of people don't realize we had to drop Jack because he was so bad at the podcast. And it looked like he took some media classes. He's doing good, talking very well for himself again. That was a problem before. He couldn't talk straight, but he's doing great these days.
Yeah, we miss Jack. Jack moved to Colorado. So the OG listeners, which we still have that have been with us from the beginning, Jack was a co-host with us. And then Drew Daughter, who now plays guitar, he was a safety for ECU, produced. And those were the good days. That was a fun time. We were in a basement. This is a lot nicer setup now, but maybe one day they'll move back here and we'll get it rolling with the squad again.
You know, Holton goes to Jack or Drew when a big time guest cancels.
That's not true.
No, I'm messing with Jack.
That's not true. Oh, I was about to say, I love Jack. I wish Jack could come on every week.
But speaking about good old days, I had a dream last night.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
So I woke up about 4 a.m, and it was a dream. I was holding field goals.
Oh.
And, you know, that was a backup holder. Got some action in that. I took a lot of pride in that.
Yeah.
And Coach Dudzik comes out of nowhere. We were talking about the other day. Coach Dudzik, former ECU receiver coach, big special teams guy. I like Coach Dudzik. I don't think he's a fan of a backup quarterback being the second string holder. But he comes up just like you would do in practice and try to take my job from me with Tyler Snead or Blake Prohl. And this time it was a freaking game, which I did play in a game.
You did.
And I'm about to go in. I guess John Young, former starting holder, got hurt or something. And I'm about to go in there. Coach Doug's like, no, we need to put Snead in. And I was fired up, man. And then I woke up.
I was going to say, is this a true story or a fake story?
No, this is fake. He never got it. He never did that to me in real life, but he tried.
Midway there, I was really confused because I didn't know if that was...
It seemed like a real story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, back in the day, they used to try to replace me all the time. But I think guys like me, we have our dream of, we're about to go in because we never got to go in.
You got to go in. You played versus NC State. You played a whole half, which a lot of quarterbacks don't get to say.
A biggest hype man right there. I appreciate that.
Hey.
Nice.
Let's talk about the Coastal game. So we kind of talked about it there, and we kind of hinted at it because we're not really trashing the offense. The offense is doing really, really well. We're ranked top, out of a lot of teams, obviously, in the country. We're like top 25 in a lot of categories. The thing that, and we talked about the rushing, and I want to get back to that because it's a little skewed. When you look at the stats, I think we ran for 200 yards last game. The fourth
Those were late.
Yeah, we have a lot of late rushing touchdowns in that, and we believe in the running. Like I believe in the running backs, and I believe in the offensive line. Just for some reason, they're not clicking yet. I think they can be set up a little bit better. I think in the first half, we're pressing the run a little too much right now, and I think in a big game like this, you got to go out. I don't want to repeat myself, but you got to go out and say, you know what, our best player, one of our best players, are the quarterback and 3 or 4 receivers. And our offensive line has given up 1 sack this year, and our quarterback's thrown 1 pick this year in 3 games. We just got to let them take us to victory. Like, I think that's what you do. And then when it's the time comes to run the football, you got to run the football, and hopefully we're ready.
Yeah, another thing from that Coastal game reminded me of the State game was just like that early inconsistency
it was weird.
with play calling.
Yeah.
And I look back, I mean, it's JDB's second year. I mean, he had a whole year play calling, but he's still having those young play caller, inconsistencies. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of last year. You'd see a big game, then you'd see the next game die down, then you see a big game, you see it kind of die down again. Do you feel like you saw some inconsistencies on the play calling, or were you kind of a big fan of what he was calling that first half?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I think the first half was very similar. We watched it together. I think the first half was very similar to NC State's play calling in the first half, which wasn't. I didn't believe was that good. I didn't think they put the offensive play calling put the players in position to win the first half. I think it put them later in the game. They started calling better plays and they started scoring. But I think you just got to play to your strengths. And usually young offensive coordinators lean on that a lot more. But I know that, as a young offensive coordinator, I'm sure in his mind, he's like, we got to stay evened out. We got to stay evened out. And that's a head coaching thing too. Like Coach Houston was big on that. And that's something I don't know how Coach Harrell is as a head coach. I only had him as a defensive coordinator and obviously was a quarterback. Like even when I was playing, when we were playing, like it was the weirdest thing because Coach Mo didn't care at all. I'd go run it 27 times and throw it 70 times my freshman year. But then when Coach Houston got here, I literally remember, and you said in the headset,
the run.
It was establish the run, defend the run, but they would chart during the game the split between runs and passes and try to keep them even. And in my mind, I'm like, how is this a college offense? This is what you're doing. This is how you call it. But that's how they built. Because
in your mind, for me, I'd be like, oh my God, I've called 28 pass plays, but I've only called 17 run plays. Maybe you should run more.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to admit, as a human, that kind of plays with you.
No, 100%. So that's where, and that did with Coach Houston's scheme and Donnie's scheme, that was like how they built.
Run, pass.
Punt. But they built the system to win around that. They built a defense around it to be aggressive, and then they built it where we would run the vertical choice on third down, and we'd hopefully get it with the good receivers we had. But that's just a question that I've wondered is, are they charting the plays during the game and looking at that live? Is that something that JDB is aware of? Is that why we're trying to establish the run early on? But then when the game's close, we just start throwing it and we go take them deep shots. So that's just something in my mind where it's like, are they doing that?
That's a good call out. Because that I remember when Houston came, they started doing that. I was like, that mess with me. We don't know if they're doing that, but that's a
good or bad. It's just that's just an idea that came to my mind. It's like maybe they're charting it early and trying to like establish both, and then
I have another concern though. Looking for a quick dinner after the kids get home from school, look no further than Jersey Mike's, a sub above. Holton Ahlers loves eating a lot of food. He loves his subs, and check out Jersey Mike's.
This is a shot at me? Okay, respect. Check out Jersey Mike's. I do love eating, and I do love Jersey Mike's. Mine is either the club sub or the Big Kahuna. I like that too, Caiden. That's my nickname, the Big Kahuna. Jersey Mike's.
And when it kind of made me think of like Arch Manning. Arch Manning obviously doesn't look too hot. He throws a lot of his balls short. He's throwing them with no velocity. And I love Caiden Norman. I'm not talking any trash about him, but that last game kind of concerned me because some of his curl routes and some of his comebacks or deep posts, deep balls. Well, first, his curls were short. Like, they were kind of slow. They were getting out there really slow. There wasn't much velocity. And, of course, his posts and deep balls. I mean, he probably would have had 3 more touchdown passes, but he underthrew them. And I look at his attempts. I mean, he has 112 attempts this year, like one of the top passing attempts quarterbacks out there. So I'm like, is he sore? I mean, if they're doing that in a game, I can only imagine how often they're throwing it in practice. Did he get hit that we don't know of? I don't know. Did that concern you in that last game? Because when you play a BYU team, you throw those those short, they're getting picked off.
Yeah. I don't think it concerned me, no. It was our first time this season to see it. The only thing that would even remote concern me is he had wrist surgery past off season on his throwing hand or throwing wrist. But no, it didn't concern me. I think he's our best player in my opinion. I mean, I don't see the film. The film says a lot more, but just watching the TV, I think he's our best player.
I agree.
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't concern me. Now, if he goes out there and does it versus BYU, then yeah, because it's going to be tough to win without the run game. That's why the run game is really important, because right now there's a lot of pressure on Caiden and really these receivers, but not as much on the receivers because the scheme will get them open. It's really the pressure's on Caiden because the run game isn't that explosive right now. Yes, like we said, the numbers are skewed from the fourth quarter stats, but in the big moments, it's had to been him to make the right decision to get the ball to the right guy. And like you said, if he's having an off game, we won 38-0 versus Coastal, but if he's having an off game versus BYU or like another good team, Memphis, Tulane, these teams, like who is going to step up in the run game, or where are they going to step up at? Because as a quarterback, you're going to have off days. You watch me have tons of off days, but he's also going to have really good games. So we need to, when he's having those good games, we need to feed him. But we also need to know in track, and I'll get to that point in a second, we need to know like the plays that get him back into rhythm. Like I always had it, we called it stick check in the offense that we ran, and it would be 3 or 4 plays in one, and just quick game or a deep ball, depending on if they gave me man coverage. And that was like the play, like after an interception was almost every single play we would run that just to get me back into rhythm. Or just if I was out of rhythm, I would say, hey, just call stick check. I'll go to the line of scrimmage, read the defense, check the play, and then I'll get a completion. I'd hope as a young offense coordinator, JDB knows that for Caiden, especially in their second year. And then you asked about him throwing a lot. I know I'm rambling here, but I'm very hopeful and very confident that they track his throws during practice. They 100% should track every single throw he throws ever all week. I mean, they should know, they should be able to go back and see last year, okay, you had a good game versus, they should have done this in the offseason really, but last year you had a good game versus North Texas. So let's say he had a good game versus North Texas. Well, how many balls did he throw that week? Look at his good games. Look how many balls he threw during practice that week. How many balls did he throw in warm-ups? Like all that should be tracked, so, because the more you can track and the more variables you can tighten to make, like, say we had success with these variables, then do those more, obviously.
Yeah, I agree with you. What play would you give me for a get back in the
get back? I'm thinking tush push.
I was thinking QB power. We were pretty close
QB
right
power.
there. That was good. All right, 3.
Wait 1 second. You know who runs a lot of QB power? I want to get into this real quick. Is BYU's quarterback Bear Hombach? What's his last name? Bachmeier. He runs a lot, so that's something to look into. I want to dive in a little bit more of that. As a true freshman quarterback, I was a true freshman quarterback. What is the number one way?
Big flex.
No. I'm just saying, like, I understand and how they got me in rhythm. I talked earlier that Coach Mo didn't care if I ran the ball 27 times. Is as a freshman quarterback, the best way to get you into rhythm isn't making completions. It's running the ball, because all your nerves get out, because you just get hit and then you're like, well, crap. All right, I've already got hit. Let's go throw now. So wouldn't be surprised if all if the first drive had a couple runs and they run him a decent amount. He's a good runner. So that's just something to look at as a quarterback run as well.
That means hit him.
Hit
the shit out of him.
Yeah.
3 game maximums for the win the game for ECU. Jack gave his game maximums. What are your 3 game maximums to win the game?
Turnover battle. Let your best player win the games. And there's going to be a time when we have to have a run play and we have to move the ball running it. And does that happen? Does it not happen?
I agree with the first 2. I don't care if we run the ball ever.
No, I'm saying when the moment comes, do we convert a run or do we not? I think that grand scheme of things, I think it's going to come down to that. There's going to be a moment where it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 3rd and 2, where we have to run the football, maybe on the goal line, and we're either going to win or lose off of can we convert that? Can we lean on the run game? Because at some point you're going to have to.
It's going to be loud. It's going to be exciting.
Can't wait. Tarps off?
If we win.
All right.
Only if we win.
All right, we'll see. Join us on the 5th quarter. After the ECU game, when the 4th quarter ends, 5th quarter begins, we'll be there. Caiden might go tarps off if ECU wins. We'll see you there.
You'll see my nipples.
All right.